This is the only video you'll ever need to truly understand women and become successful with them. We're going to break down everything from the mindsets you must develop and the traits women are naturally drawn to the psychological triggers that spark attraction. You'll learn social behavior hacks that make women feel instantly drawn to you, how to talk and flirt in a way that builds chemistry, and the conversation topics that naturally lead to intimacy. And just as important, we'll cover what not to do, the behaviors that make you seem needy or creepy, and the 8 deadly mistakes most men make that destroy their chances. Let's start with the core mindsets you need to master.
1. The mindset of abundance. The end of emotional scarcity. The cold, hard reality is this. Men who never chase have emotionally decoupled their self-worth from a woman's approval. They do not view a romantic partner as the essential missing piece required for their happiness. They have the deep, unshakable understanding that their lives are already rich and valuable, regardless of whether they are currently dating anyone. This crucial internal perspective is the abundance mindset. This principle is the bedrock of natural attraction. The man operating from abundance is grounded in the conviction that he is not dependent on one specific person. He knows there are countless attractive, compatible options available in the world. Losing a single connection, no matter how promising, is not a catastrophic failure. It's merely a redirect. His deep internal confidence is self-generated, derived from his purpose and efforts, not from a woman's validating text message. This stands in stark opposition to the man driven by scarcity. This man lives in constant fear, thinking, if I lose this one, I've lost my only shot. He feels an urgent compulsion to send extra texts, apologize excessively, and constantly prove his worth. This overwhelming neediness, this palpable desperation, is unconsciously sensed by women as a huge red flag, signaling low social value. The abundant man, secure in his own orbit, never exudes this need. Think about your own experience. How quickly did a woman's interest die when you applied too much pressure, only to reignite when you genuinely shifted your focus away? That powerful effect is the truth of abundance in action. You can begin cultivating this mindset now by acting as if you already have options, even if you're building them. The key is to genuinely be willing to walk away if a woman fails to meet your standards or reciprocate your interest. Furthermore, you must aggressively commit to self-improvement. Build your career, get in the best shape of your life, cultivate a compelling social circle. The more elevated and engaging your own life is, the more effortless the attraction becomes. The goal is to integrate women into your vibrant life, but never to center your entire existence around them. She should be a beautiful addition, not the foundation. Men who operate from this deep-seated belief are not playing games. They are simply reflecting their profound self-value. 2. The strategy of pull-over-push, manufacturing psychological intrigue. The next critical mindset shift involves replacing the strategy of pushing with the mastery of pull. The typical man pushes, he over-initiates contact, bombards her with information, and explains his feelings too early. This excessive effort shouts, "I need you to like me." The man who is chased, conversely, excels at creating pull. Men who push are dismissed because they are too predictable and too available. They eliminate the thrill of the chase. When a man consistently invests more energy, resources, and time than the woman, she instantly gains control, and her attraction begins to cool. She knows she has him secured, and human nature dictates that we crave what we have to work for. You must allow her to invest. The power of pulling resides in cultivating mystery, intrigue, and curiosity. Instead of forcing the connection forward, you skillfully create a space that allows her to be the one reaching out. It requires immense internal confidence to let her wonder about you. Consider this simple psychological truth. Who does a woman think about more? The man who instantly replies to every text, or the one whose slightly delayed, measured response leaves her guessing what exciting thing he was doing? The answer is always the latter. Men who create, pull, understand investment. They require her to make the first move in many interactions. If she texts, they take their time to formulate a measured, non-eager response. When she suggests a meetup, They coolly check their schedule before agreeing. They are always mirroring her level of engagement but never exceeding it. They also intentionally build tension instead of offering premature certainty. Instead of rushing to define the relationship or declare intense interest, they might say something playful like, "I had fun. I'm going to have to decide if you're interesting enough for a second meeting." This flips the script entirely. Suddenly, she is the one wondering if she earned the date. Furthermore, they utilize the power of strategic withdrawal. No constant social media interaction, no begging for attention. Just enough presence to keep the connection warm, but not so much that she feels entirely in control. Remember, that moment when a woman reaches out after you've gone quiet. That is the immediate, powerful signal of attraction that pull generates. Never confuse over-eagerness with true interest. When she feels she must compete and win you over, that is when the chase begins. Men who master the art of pulling instead of pushing are the ones who excel at flirting with women. If you want to develop that skill too, make sure to click the link in our description after you finish watching the video. 3. The power of self-respect, valuing your time. Above all, the third fundamental shift is the commitment to the belief that your time is a premium asset, and women are deeply attuned to this. The man who is chased is simply too busy to sit around staring at his phone, wondering about her next move. He is genuinely engaged in building his life, a life so captivating that women naturally want an invitation to be part of it. Women are magnetically drawn to men who demonstrate profound self-respect, and there is no clearer way to signal this than by fiercely valuing your time. The chaser makes himself instantly available. He rearranges his appointments, drops everything to reply, and treats her schedule as the paramount priority. He waits passively for her to grant him time. The non-chaser, however, prioritizes his mission, his fitness, and his professional goals far above any woman's need for validation. He is not always available, and this unavailability is genuine, not manufactured. He understands that making her earn his time is the ultimate display of confidence. You must be brutally honest with yourself. If she called right now for a last-minute meet, would you cancel something meaningful? If the answer is yes, you are too available. Women will inevitably test your time boundaries. The low-value man fails these tests every time. He responds instantly to a late-night "hey," eagerly reschedules when plans are cancelled, and keeps trying to engage her even when her texts are dry. The high-value man, however, knows his time is sacred. He delays a response to a late-night text, establishing a boundary. When she cancels, he expresses a reasonable boundary by saying he doesn't do last-minute changes and requires her to lock in a new plan. When she sends low-effort texts, he simply stops replying and returns his attention to more productive or engaging activities. Women ultimately respect the man who respects himself. The less you chase, the more she is compelled to pursue you. The more structured and busy your life is, the more naturally attractive you become. So, the next time you find yourself fixated on her text response time, immediately pivot and ask yourself, what can I be doing right now to aggressively improve my life instead? 4. The signal of quiet dominance, high-status presence. The fourth critical mindset is projecting high-status vibes, a form of leadership and security that operates without a single boastful word. Historically, powerful men were always the object of desire. High-status vibes are a manifestation of internal security. Women are biologically wired to be attracted to men who can command respect, exude quiet confidence, and require absolutely zero validation from external sources. This is a silent, assured dominance that triggers a woman's desire to chase. The central difference is this: truly high-status men do not announce their status. The low-status man, in contrast, tries too hard. He compensates for his insecurity by bragging about achievements, money, or possessions. He attempts to manufacture an alpha image through over-the-top posturing. The authentic high-status man, however, simply moves through the world with unforced confidence. He is comfortable letting a woman determine his value on her own. Does the most magnetic man you know spend his time boasting, or does his inherent presence simply require respect? You can cultivate this silent status immediately. Ensure you always possess a calm, controlled demeanor. Use nonverbal cues. Take up space. Maintain a straight posture and ensure your movements are deliberate and unhurried. Crucially, never overreact to a woman's actions. When she pulls away, you remain unperturbed. When she tries to test you with drama or an attitude, you remain unfazed. You must learn to set the tone in any social interaction. Don't adjust your personality to please. Instead, your energy should subtly influence the environment. You must lead, not follow. Women are drawn to men who can make decisions confidently, expecting others to follow. Confidence is not about being right. It's about owning your choices without a trace of hesitation. Finally, maintain a vital sense of mystery. Resist the urge to overshare personal details or feelings too soon. By giving her incomplete information, you ensure she thinks about you and wonders what you are doing when you are not physically present. The less you immediately reveal, the more she must invest her mind and time trying to figure you out. Final conclusion. The men who are chaste are chosen because they project a life of value. They are not chasers. Men who possess this quiet internal dominance never have to pursue. Their foundation of self-worth, emotional control, and deep confidence makes a woman crave their attention. They do not have to demand respect. They move through the world in a way that earns it effortlessly. So, in every single interaction you have moving forward, ask yourself this fundamental question. Am I operating from a place of genuine self-respect and confidence? Or am I behaving like a man who is actively seeking her approval? Your answer will determine whether you are chasing or being chased.
Now, let's move on to the traits women find attractive in a man.
You've heard the familiar refrain, nice guys finish last, while bad boys, alphas and chads seem to effortlessly succeed with women. But what actually explains this dynamic? The truth is, the term bad boy often gets misapplied. It's less about genuine villainy and more about exhibiting certain appealing traits. Many men get confused, thinking they need to adopt a fake persona or waste time playing games, which isn't true. Instead of focusing on becoming a bad boy, let's look at the attractive behaviors men successful with women naturally practice, and which you should adopt as well. The foundation of attraction. The first and most crucial trait is independence. Nothing repels a woman faster than neediness or clinginess, behaviors often associated with the stereotypical nice guy or simp described on social media. These traits rarely lead to a positive outcome. To be attractive, you must cultivate a robust, fulfilling life of your own. A man who is genuinely independent, who can stand confidently on his own 2 feet, and who knows he will thrive regardless of his relationship status, is incredibly appealing. This self-sufficiency is far more compelling than desperation, constant texts, or neediness. Men who are successful with women are secure in their own lives, which means they are inviting someone to add to their world, rather than expecting a woman to become their world. This self-assuredness is what women find deeply attractive. 2. A sense of humor. A good sense of humor is essential. This doesn't mean you should resort to being cruel or mean-spirited. Instead, it's about not taking everything too seriously. You want to be able to maintain a light and playful tone during conversations, keeping things fun and easygoing. Joking and light sarcasm occasionally will help a person feel more relaxed and comfortable around you, eliminating the need for them to keep their guard up. A major part of building a connection is allowing yourself and the other person to be vulnerable. When you can laugh together, you create that comfort. If she feels unable to relax and joke with you, it'll be tougher for her to open up. Remember not to cross the line and come across as a complete jerk. This is where many guys misunderstand the advice. Videos that suggest you should be intentionally mean or act disinterested are poor advice and should be ignored. You should, however, be capable of teasing, mutual laughter, and injecting humor into the interaction. Next up is confidence, a trait so frequently mentioned it's practically a cliché, but its importance can't be overstated. We all know women are drawn to it, but why is it such a powerful attractant? Women are drawn to confidence because it signals masculinity, which is historically linked to leadership and dominant behavior. Studies have shown that women prefer men who display these stronger, more masculine traits. Confidence is the key indicator of masculinity, suggesting he is a strong, capable partner. A very appealing quality. A truly confident man trusts his own abilities and recognizes his worth, which is usually clear across all areas of his life, not just his love life. Confidence is undeniably sexy and always beats out a life dictated by insecurity. While watching those bad boy characters in movies, you'll see they project extreme confidence, sometimes bordering on arrogance, which you must avoid. There's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, so make sure you stay firmly on the confident side. Keeping this in mind will certainly boost your interactions with women and your overall success in dating. Number 4 is being direct, a quality that makes men stand out because so few practice it. Guys who are nervous or timid around women rarely succeed because they fail to take action. The men who achieve success with women are the ones who are willing to pursue them, be assertive, and ultimately get what they want. A man who is decisive about his intentions is attractive. While modern dating has shifted and some women are more willing to approach, it's still quite rare. Most women would prefer that you initiate the interaction. A direct approach involves being honest, authentic, and assertive in expressing yourself. When a man takes the initiative in approaching and pursuing, he makes the woman feel safe and secure, which encourages her to embrace her femininity, a quality many men desire. To elicit that in a woman, you must first do your part by approaching and providing that feeling of safety. Naturally, women must also contribute. I'm not suggesting men should take over every aspect of the relationship forever. However, during the initial stages and for the first spark of attraction, it's vital to establish that foundational sense of security and safety. This will let her relax and feel comfortable with you. That said, don't invest a disproportionate amount of time and energy into someone who isn't reciprocating. As I've stressed before, your time and effort should be returned. If not, you need to be ready to walk away, but you have to be willing to initiate the effort. Ultimately, attraction is based on a blend of confidence, humor, and success, all of which require a man to be direct, clear, and open. The 5th point focuses on body language and social skills, 2 elements you should never disregard. Confident men always have great control over their non-verbal cues. Picture the stereotypical movie Bad Boy again. They possess a certain swag, a specific way of moving. They maintain excellent eye contact and make others feel at ease simply through their body language. Eye contact, an open and welcoming posture in conversation, and an unclosed body stance all contribute to how others perceive you. People often underestimate how crucial body language is for initial attraction and successful interactions with women. Your nonverbal communication speaks volumes about how you feel, often without you saying a word. Therefore, avoid crossed arms or looking down. Imagine talking to me right now while I stare at the floor. Would you stay engaged? You must sit or stand tall, maintain eye contact, and adopt open body language to keep the other person involved and comfortable in the conversation. All right, gentlemen, that covers the bad boy characteristics that women find attractive. Again, this video is really about the behaviors that lead to success with women, the actions that successful men take which you might be overlooking. Be sure to put these into practice.
Now that you know the mindsets and traits you need to adopt, let's go over 10 psychological secrets that make women feel attracted to you. 1. Attraction is a reaction to attractive traits. A woman doesn't choose to be attracted to you. She doesn't consciously decide. It's an instinctive reaction that just happens when you display attractive traits and behaviors that appeal to the female mind. Think of it like a natural reflex. You act in a bold and confident way, and attraction happens. You banter with her and display a playful side. Attraction happens. You show that you're passionate, ambitious, and determined. Attraction happens. It doesn't matter if you're older, out of shape, or plain looking. It doesn't matter if you don't drive a luxury car or live in a penthouse. As long as you display traits and behaviors that are naturally attracted to women, she will find herself drawn to you and even see you in a sensual way. Conversely, if you display signs of insecurity, like inability to make eye contact, a low voice, closed-off body language, or constantly trying to prove yourself, she is going to be instantly turned off. 2. Women are eager to meet in real life. Most guys believe they can't just approach a woman out in the wild because it will bother or creep her out. This fear causes them to cling to dating apps. But the truth is, approaching in person is the best way to meet women because of spontaneity. When you approach a woman and spark a romantic connection, you create a story in her mind that can't be replicated by a dating app match. Every woman secretly desires to meet the man of her dreams through a spontaneous chance encounter, whether at a coffee shop, or the gym. This kind of interaction makes her value you far more than a guy she can easily replace with a few swipes. No woman truly wants to brag to her friends about meeting her boyfriend on Tinder. An exciting real-life origin story is always preferred. 3. The 5-minute rule of attractive conversations. When you meet a new woman, it's important to give the conversation at least 5 minutes or so to really pick up steam. The woman you approach needs time to warm up and feel comfortable. She is not mentally prepped for the interaction like you are. She needs time to drop her barrier and start talking more freely. The problem most guys face is they expect the conversation to flow too quickly and interpret a woman's initial lack of enthusiasm as disinterest. To avoid this, be prepared to carry the conversation for those initial 5 minutes, potentially talking 90% of the time. Give her the time to get out of her head. Remember that if she is not walking away, there is curiosity, so keep going. 4. You have to own your own desires. It's crucial for you to hear this. It's okay to be sensually interested in a woman. It is acceptable to let her know you find her attractive and to want a sensual relationship with her. You don't have to hide or apologize for your desires. Women want to be desired. They crave it. They want to be with a guy who is unapologetic about wanting her, who is not afraid to show it. This is considered bold and masculine. When you show a woman your desire without guilt or shame, you create an immediate spark in romantic tension, and you shut the door to the friend zone forever. The biggest mistake men make is hiding their desire. You need to take the risk of showing romantic or sensual interest, because the only other option is the friend zone, the nothing zone. As long as you are not overtly sensual or physically aggressive, and you step back if she shows discomfort, you will be fine. Get out of your own way, show women what you want, and go after it without apology. 5. Neediness is the enemy of attraction. Women instinctively avoid needy men. If you're a guy who requires constant reassurance from her to feel confident, if you need her to keep reminding you she's attracted to you and still interested, you will chase her away. A woman wants a man who remains confident and feels good about himself regardless of how she behaves or what her mood is. This is because women know their emotions, and behavior can ebb and flow. If a man's confidence crashes every time she isn't overtly excited, she instinctively recognizes he won't make a great partner, and she won't be sensually attracted to him. Do not base your confidence on her early responses. She doesn't want to see that you need her validation to feel confident. 6. Women will test you. If they're interested, the more confident you appear, the more a woman might test you. She might tease you, disagree with you, or pull back her interest and act a little cold, just to see if you lose your cool and start acting insecure or needy. This is not a tactic women use to make your life harder. It's a natural response to a guy they find confident and attractive. In fact, testing is one of the strongest signs of interest. If a woman is always friendly and always assuring you, in most cases, she's not that into you. When you are being tested and you don't buckle under pressure, her attraction will shoot through the roof. She sees that you are the real deal and drops her guard. You should be happy when you are tested. It's an opportunity to set yourself apart. 7. If you don't bleed, she's going to lead. If you don't confidently ask for her number, suggest meeting up, or make a move to take things in a sensual direction, a woman is going to lose interest and leave. Attraction will start to fizzle, regardless of how interested she was initially. Many guys lose opportunities because they wait for the right time or the right thing to say. Instead of making a move, they wait for more signs of interest, and she gets frustrated, loses interest, and moves on. All advice on attracting women is meaningless unless you actually lead things forward. Playing it safe is not the way to get the women you want. There is no risk, no reward. Once you know you are displaying attractive traits, shoot your shot and keep moving things forward. Don't let the attraction fizzle out. 8. Women are highly sensual beings. Many men operate under the misconception that women are innocent and automatically repulsed by a man trying to take things in an intimate direction. This is simply not true. Women are highly passionate. They love and crave deep physical connection, often thinking about it more than you realize. The reason most women act uninterested is due to societal pressure and the fear that a man will judge them. If they are open about their desire for closeness, deep down, they crave a man who can create a romantic spark and confidently lead them into a world of pleasure and intimacy. This dynamic explains why bad boys or players often succeed. They feel no shame in making a move and initiating physical escalation, which is precisely the confidence you need to adopt. 9. Use absence to increase desire. Many guys make the mistake of overinvesting and trying to see a woman as often as possible. The more you are seen and heard from, the more your value decreases. You become a routine instead of a treat, and her desire begins to fade. To prevent this, you need to know when to withdraw. Once you've captured her attention and stirred up desire, you need to starve her of your presence a little. Let her think about you. Let her wonder when you'll reach out, and let her miss you. This space is required for her desire to grow into something long-lasting. You must strike a balance, give her small doses of your full attention, and then be absent for a little while. The right way to do this is to have other things going on in your life, your work, hobbies, friends, and family, so that you are naturally occupied and do not overinvest or become needy. 10. The best lines and tactics don't work for most men. The truth is, the best lines and tactics don't work for most men because a crucial component is always missing. It's not about what you say, but how you say it. A great flirty line can lose its charm and make you look awkward if the delivery is off. How you say things is mainly influenced by how you think and how you feel on the inside. If you feel nervous or insecure around an attractive woman, you will inevitably mess up the line or freeze up entirely. The same applies to tricks like holding eye contact or advanced conversation techniques. You won't be able to execute them unless you have the right attitude to back it up. Men who only learn the theory and tactics but haven't fixed their internal nervous attitude will never attract the women they truly desire for the long run. The internal confidence is the missing piece. The next step is to understand these 6 powerful social hacks that spark attraction instantly.
But understand this fundamental truth before we proceed. None of this advice will work if you don't know how to flirt. Flirting is the spark that turns confidence into chemistry. But don't worry, we've got you covered. Once you finish this video, click the link in the description and we will teach you exactly how to flirt with women effortlessly.
So the first social hack is
master strong eye contact, projecting unwavering presence. This foundational behavior is perhaps the most immediate indicator of your inner world and social standing. Strong, steady eye contact is a non-verbal declaration of inner stillness and self-possession. When you habitually avoid a woman's gaze, or if your eyes drift aimlessly when she's speaking, you instantly signal anxiety, insecurity, or a deeply submissive posture, qualities that are the antithesis of attraction. In contrast, when you consciously and calmly hold her gaze for 3 seconds or longer during conversation, you project a deep sense of composure, command, and comfort in your own skin. It immediately labels you as a man who is not intimidated by social scrutiny, a leader who is assertive and alpha. Avoid the amateur mistake of staring intensely or aggressively. Your goal is a warm, focused, and steady connection that communicates, "I am fully present, I see you, and I am not anxious." This simple, intentional act builds immediate tension, forces vulnerability, and acts as a powerful catalyst for attraction and genuine emotional chemistry. It shows you own the space and the moment. 2. Initiate playful nicknames. Building intimacy and rapport. The use of a nickname is an overlooked social maneuver that rapidly establishes an in-group feeling and bypasses the slow, formal process of acquaintance. The technique involves calling a woman by a unique, playful nickname that you personally assigned her. This could be based on a situational cue, a personality quirk, or an observation, such as the Chief if she seems organized, Firecracker if she's energetic, or Daydreamer if she mentions creative hobbies. The power of the nickname lies in its sophisticated implication. First, it subtly signals that you are highly observant and creative, taking the time to notice and label a defining characteristic of her personality. Second, delivering the nickname with a warm smile or teasing tone demonstrates that you are playful, comfortable, and confident enough to tease her, a level of genuine non-needy familiarity that younger, less seasoned men rarely attempt. This intentional jump to a personal, shared language swiftly creates rapport and intimacy. It becomes your unique inside joke. Use it selectively and with genuine affection to maintain its charm and avoid any perception of being patronizing. 3. Employ strategic, playful judgment, establishing value and standards. The most common trap older men fall into is the salesman or qualification mindset, desperately attempting to impress a woman with their accomplishments, financial status, or excessively polite behavior. This makes them appear needy and confirms they are seeking her validation. The superior strategy is to deploy playful judgment. This means you must actively listen for something specific she says or does and challenge it with a light-hearted, absurd, or exaggerated response. For instance, if she tells you she prefers watching historical documentaries, you might say, "Ah, I see. So you're one of those insufferable intellectuals who judges everyone else's movie taste. I'm going to have to keep a close watch on you." This serves two crucial functions. It shows you are evaluating her and are not automatically impressed, and it demonstrates a sense of humor. This approach instantly distinguishes you from the crowd by asserting that you are a confident, high-value man who has standards and the wit to challenge her reality, which is profoundly compelling to women. 4. Introduce small, calm disagreements, asserting independence. The most direct route to the friend zone is being relentlessly agreeable, nodding along to every single point she makes. This behavior is immediately categorized as the nice guy pathology, suggesting her approval is your primary objective and that you fear disrupting the conversation. The hallmark of a confident man is the ability to assert his own perspective. Therefore, you must not be afraid to introduce small, measured disagreements on minor points. If you are being honest, you will naturally find things you view differently. The critical factor is how you deliver the disagreement. It must be done in a calm, casual, and completely respectful manner. For example, if she expresses a preference for a certain travel destination you dislike, you might say, "That's a fascinating choice. I actually think that place is completely overrated, but I respect that you enjoy it. What specifically drew you to it?" You've stated your own truth while instantly pivoting back to her with curiosity. This is highly effective because it confirms that you have an independent mind and are not dependent on her for validation. 5. Intentionally initiate physical touch, creating connection and comfort. The majority of men fail this test, remaining paralyzed by the fear of being seen as creepy. This failure guarantees they remain in the platonic zone. You must actively and intentionally look for opportunities to initiate physical touch as early as possible in the interaction. You must begin with platonic, socially acceptable points of contact. A firm, confident handshake upon meeting, a high five to celebrate a shared success, a light, brief touch on her upper arm or shoulder when making a sincere point or sharing a laugh. These are your essential tools for breaking the touch barrier. Initiating physical contact signals that you are fearless, bold, and comfortable with physical intimacy. Moreover, touch is scientifically proven to be the fastest mechanism for releasing oxytocin, the bonding hormone, thereby establishing trust and emotional connection. Once she is comfortable with your platonic touch, she will be exponentially more receptive to the natural progression of intimacy. 6. Take control and lead the conversation, signaling leadership. The fundamental trait that separates a desirable partner from a mere friend is the ability to lead. This is the highest expression of masculine confidence. To successfully attract her, you must visibly lead the conversation by taking the primary responsibility for the flow, direction, and energy of the interaction. In the early stages, this often means you should be talking the majority of the time. The amateur mistake is asking a superficial question and then falling silent, waiting for the woman to entertain you. The professional, confident strategy is to drive the conversation forward by asking open-ended, thoughtful questions, sharing high-value stories and opinions, injecting proactive humor, and confidently directing the conversation across various topics. This act of taking charge demonstrates that you have the social intelligence and capacity to take the lead in life, which is a deeply feminine need. When a woman feels guided, intellectually stimulated, and emotionally safe around you, she is allowed to relax into a more responsive, feminine state. This powerful, visceral attraction, the feeling of being with a capable man, is what will ultimately draw her to you.
Now, for the juicy part you've been waiting for: how to talk and flirt with women to create real attraction. When you approach a woman, the first mistake you make is overthinking what to say. You plan every word, worry about every reaction, and end up sounding unnatural. Stop doing that. Before talking to a woman, shift your mindset. See her as an ordinary person. She's not a goddess, she's not above you, she's human, like you. Attractive or not, she doesn't deserve to be placed on a pedestal. Every time you talk to a beautiful woman, remind yourself, she's just another person. That simple reminder will keep you grounded. Now here's something you need to understand. When you talk to a woman, her subconscious mind is evaluating you. It's scanning for signs that you're the right man for her. This process is emotional, not logical. Women are driven by emotions, not reason. They don't choose attraction. It happens automatically. Attraction is not something they control. It's a subconscious reaction to certain traits in a man's behavior. To attract her, you must trigger that reaction. Think of her subconscious like a radar. When you talk to her, the radar activates. It scans you, testing if you fit what she wants. If the radar decides you're right, she'll feel drawn to you no matter what her logical brain says. That's why women often fall for men who treat them poorly. They follow what they feel, not what they think. From birth, every woman's biology pushes her to find the right man. She might be successful, smart, or independent, but deep down that instinct never changes. And that instinct, the radar, decides who attracts her, not her conscious mind. Now, what does that radar look for? It checks if you see yourself as higher value or lower value than her. If you act like she's better than you fail the test. If you act like you're above her, the radar responds with attraction. It's that simple. So how do you show that you're higher value? Start with body language. Forget all the fake advice you've heard. Chin up, shoulders straight, no hands in pockets. That stuff doesn't matter. What matters is your energy and comfort. Here are 3 rules to remember. First, never lean in when you talk to her. Leaning in signals neediness. It shows you're chasing her approval. Instead, lean back slightly. Make her lean toward you. It sends the message that you're confident and uninterested in validation. Second, don't be afraid to walk away. If she says something dismissive like, "I'm not interested," respond playfully and distance yourself. Say something like, "Yeah, I figured. You look like the type who can't handle me anyway." Then start to walk away. This works because most attractive women aren't used to men walking away. When you do, it shocks her radar and triggers curiosity and attraction. Third, your comfort level defines your value. Picture sitting next to someone powerful, your boss, a celebrity, or someone important. You'd probably sit straight, smile politely, and act careful. Now, picture sitting next to your best friend or brother. You'd relax, lean back, stretch your legs, talk freely. That's the difference between low and high value. The one who sits comfortably shows power. The one who adjusts to please the other shows submission. When you talk to a woman, always be the comfortable one. Don't worry about posture, hand placement, or how you look. If you want to put your hand in your pocket, do it. If you want to lean back, do it. Comfort equals confidence, and confidence is the signal her radar picks up. Now let's talk about conversation. There's a formula that keeps every interaction smooth. 50% about her, 30% about the environment, 20% about you. Here's why. The person who talks most about themselves is usually the one seeking approval. Think about a job interview. The applicant does most of the talking because he needs something. The employer doesn't. It's the same in dating. If you talk too much about yourself, you sound like the one chasing. So, focus on her. Ask about her experiences, opinions, and emotions. Ask how she grew up, what she enjoys, what annoys her, what she dreams about. People love to talk about themselves, and women especially connect through sharing. When she talks, listen deeply. Pay attention, but don't act impressed. Let her feel you're interested, not desperate for her attention. Next, spend 30% of the conversation on the environment or random topics. This keeps the vibe light and natural. Talk about anything: music, food, your surroundings. Something funny you noticed. You don't need to stay on one topic. Bounce between ideas like you're chatting with a close friend. Don't force seriousness or try to sound smart. The goal is flow, not perfection. Let the conversation breathe. Now for the last 20%. Talking about yourself. Here's the rule: never brag. Never try to prove your worth. Avoid stories that make you look superior or perfect. Instead, tease yourself a little. Tell stories that make you sound real, funny, or even a bit foolish. Self-deprecating humor works because it shows you don't need validation. You're comfortable with who you are. When you talk about yourself, keep a sense of mystery. Don't reveal everything. Don't answer every question directly. Less she knows, the more she'll want to know. Now let's summarize what you've learned. First, stop overthinking conversations. Treat her as human, not as a prize. Second, control your body language by staying comfortable and relaxed. Leaning away, walking away when needed. and being physically at ease all show confidence. Third, use the 50-30-20 rule in conversations. Ask about her, talk about random things, and share a little about yourself with mystery and humor. Fourth, when she tests you, stay calm and unbothered. Your emotional control proves your value more than your words ever could. Attraction doesn't come from what you say. It comes from how you make her feel. She won't remember your exact words, but she'll remember the emotional effect you had on her. If you want her to think about you after the conversation, follow these principles. Don't chase. Don't over-explain. Don't try to impress. Be the man who's comfortable in his own presence. When you act like that, her radar will sense your value automatically. Remember, confidence isn't pretending to be strong. Confidence is being unbothered. You don't need to prove yourself because you know your worth. And when you live by that truth, attraction happens naturally. When it comes to flirting, there are 3 types of men. The first guy doesn't know how to flirt at all and ends up stuck in the friend zone. The second guy tries to flirt but comes off awkward or weird. And the third guy, he knows exactly what he's doing. Trust me when I say this. After watching this video, you'll realize flirting is actually really easy. You'll also understand why you keep facing rejection when you try to flirt. In this video, I'll break down exactly how flirting works, what to say, how to do it, and how to leave a lasting impression so the girl sees you as someone of high value, not just another guy chasing after. So, why flirt? To answer that, let's look at an example where there's no flirting going on. So, where are you from? Melbourne, Australia. Oh wow, you survived all the deadly animals there. Nah, seriously though, I've heard it's one of the most livable cities in the world. Why'd you move? Yeah, it's a great place. I moved because blah blah blah, and the conversation just keeps going. Spot the issue. If not, here's the problem. The entire conversation is 100% platonic. There's no spark, no tension, no attraction. It might as well be 2 dudes chatting. Let's be honest, that guy's going home alone. At best, solo. At worst, straight to the friend zone. And that's why flirting is so important. Flirting is what shifts the dynamic from just friends to something romantic. It signals that you're a man with intent, not just someone looking to be her buddy. So if flirting is what separates you from being just a friend, why are most guys so bad at it? Let's break down the most common mistakes. When it comes to flirting, the biggest mistake most guys make is being too obvious. Why is that a problem? Because it kills the mystery. And when the mystery disappears, so does the excitement. Intrigue makes things fun. Being too direct ruins the vibe. For example, I love sports bras. I bet you'd look amazing in a sports bra. Too obvious. So what should flirting actually look like? Gray flirting is subtle. It walks through implication rather than saying things outright. Being overly direct also kills excitement because it leaves no room for imagination. That's why it's usually better to avoid complimenting women on physical looks right away and makes you seem inexperienced and kills the mystery about your intentions. Also, being too sexually direct too soon removes her ability to rationalize what's happening later. Women are often socially conditioned to avoid feeling like they're being too forward. If you make your intentions too blunt, she'll pull away or disappear completely. Instead, give her plausible deniability. For example, I've got a pool table at my place. We should play around sometime. You both know what that means, but she can tell herself she's just coming over to hang out. So, the key takeaway, don't be too direct. Indirect flooding. Here's how to fix that. Be subtle. Take your clumsy, obvious flooding and make it more indirect. Let's go back to the earlier example. I love sports bras. Really? Well, believe it or not, I love girls who love sports bras. See the difference? You're still showing interest, but indirectly. You're implying attraction without laying it all out. By creating intrigue and leaving some things unsaid, you come across as confident and selective, not desperate or clingy. Being subtle builds tension and makes you seem like a guy who's in control, someone she wants to figure out. Agree and amplify. Next up, let's talk about agree and amplify. When you deal with confident or high-quality women, they'll often test you. It's their way of seeing how confident and grounded you are. If you get defensive or insecure, you fail the test. If you stay calm and unfazed, you pass. Here's how to pass easily. Agree with what she says and exaggerate it to a funny level. I bet you use that line on all the girls. Oh, absolutely. I wake up surrounded by them every morning. How many girls have you slept with? Today, not that many. Buy me a drink? Sure. Want my ATM pin while you're at it? Confidence plus humor equals attraction. Act like you're the prize. Most attractive women know they are the prize. They get hit on constantly. But here's the twist. You can flip the script. Make her the one chasing you. Frame it like she's the one trying to seduce you. Example, I love sports bras. Don't try to make me think of you in a sports bra. Want another drink? Oh, I see. Trying to get me drunk so you can take advantage of me, huh? It's playful, it's confident, and it completely shifts the power dynamic in your favor. Push and pull. Now let's talk about push-pull flirting. The emotional roller coaster that keeps her hooked. It's about mixing moments of connection with playful disqualification. You're too cute for me to handle. He's pulling her in with the compliment, but also pushing her away a bit. You're awesome. You're like my little sister. Compliment plus teasing contradiction equals tension and intrigue. Push-pull keeps things fun, unpredictable, and exciting, and shows that you're not desperate for her approval. Pretend it's her fault. The fun way to keep the energy floaty is to blame her for trying to seduce you. If she mentions her house casually, you can playfully say, "Oh, I see what's going on. You're already trying to get me over to your place, huh?" Women love this kind of teasing. You can also use playful sexual allusions. She says, "Wow, you're good at making cocktails," Ma. You can respond, "I'm good at May things." She'll get the hint. Remember, floating isn't about trying too hard or pretending to be someone else. It's about confidence, playfulness, and connection.
Men think they need to discuss romance, commitment, or endless devotion, the unicorns and rainbows type of conversation. The essential truth is that an emotional connection is any profound feeling that deeply links two people. This feeling doesn't have to be sweet. It can be intense desire. Arousal is one of the most consuming emotional states a person can experience. If you can make a woman think, "He just made me think the most intensely captivating thought, and I can't shake them," that establishes a successful and powerful emotional bond. It's the feeling of attraction, the building of internal excitement, and the shared experience of intense feeling that connects her to you. While desire counts as an emotional connection, the way most men pursue it is ineffective. Men often prefer direct, explicit communication, and they apply this bluntness to attraction. This leads to clumsy, overly forward statements that skip the necessary emotional prelude. For women, this kind of directness is rarely stimulating. It lacks mystery and excitement. The key to unlocking a woman's desire is subtlety and innuendo. Your communication should suggest, hint, and promise rather than describe or demand. When you hint at something passionate, you compel her to fill in the blanks in her own mind. This active process of imagining the intimate scenario without any crude statement from you is far more alluring and effective at creating intense interest. To put this into practice, you must use language that engages her imagination by teasing her about her own thoughts. When she offers a compliment or a playful challenge, shift the focus to what she might be thinking or feeling to introduce an intimate frame. You are absolutely flirting with me right now. That's really cute. I see that naughty side coming out. I knew you had it in you. You're going to be nothing but trouble for me. Another effective technique is using subtle, low-stakes questions to test the waters for intimate rapport. These questions are innocent enough on the surface but carry a deeper, intimate implication. Start light, and if she engages, you have your opening. Have you ever considered going skinny dipping? What are your thoughts on public displays of affection? If she responds with enthusiasm and engages in the playful tension, she's signaling a shared attraction. Her participation shows a genuine emotional, intimate bond is forming, which you are now free to deepen. The reason this method is so powerful is that the brain is the greatest organ of pleasure and arousal. If you can successfully engage her mind and get her to imagine the situation, you create a much stronger wave of desire than if you detail everything explicitly. This is perfectly illustrated in women's romance novels. They masterfully build tension, using suggestion and innuendo to tease the reader, delaying the payoff. Only after the emotional and physical tension has become unbearable does the writing escalate to the most intensely felt, passionate scenes. Men who master this subtle, imaginative approach to communication are rare. They are the few who consistently create profound, emotional, and desirable connections, which is precisely why they find themselves with more opportunities for deep attraction than they know what to do with. One of the most persistent and frustrating difficulties men encounter in dating and social dynamics is the fundamental inability to transition a casual, friendly, platonic conversation into a meaningful, romantic interaction that actually carries true potential and leads somewhere significant. This common breakdown is nearly always rooted in a psychological barrier: fear. This is the mistaken belief that they must take some giant, dramatic leap, a high-risk, intimidating maneuver that could lead to spectacular public embarrassment or rejection. The truth, however, is far more empowering. The most effective way to progress a connection involves very little risk. It is the subtle, continuous process of escalating the topic of conversation towards something more personal and emotionally resonant. To fully grasp this, you must recognize the 4 principal levers available for escalation, which are most powerful when used in concert. First, you have physical escalation, which simply means increasing the level of comfortable, non-awkward touch. A guiding hand on the elbow, a light brush on the shoulder, or a celebratory high five that lingers just a moment longer. Second, there's venue escalation, which involves changing the setting. Suggesting a move from a loud table to a secluded corner, or suggesting you leave the bar for a quiet walk, subtly tells both of you that this interaction is special and deserves privacy. Third, you can escalate the relationship frame by subtly shifting the language you use. This might involve using collective words like "we" when discussing future possibilities, or playfully assigning roles, saying something like, "You're clearly the insightful one in this conversation," or "You're going to be my dream date for the next 5 minutes." Finally, and most powerfully, you have topical escalation, making the subject matter more personal, passionate, and deeply felt. This method is remarkably effective because it's low risk and creates a cognitive shift. You don't have to talk explicitly about close physical closeness to build romantic tension. You only need to talk about things that are strongly associated with that level of connection. The secret weapon here is understanding how the human mind operates through a network of associations. Our brains link ideas, emotions, and past experiences into coherent cultural bundles. Consider the updated saying, deep connection, spirited spontaneity, and free expression. These elements, though different, are culturally and psychologically linked because they all sit outside of what is considered perfectly conservative or rule-bound. They represent a willingness to engage fully in life, take pleasure, and disregard cautious social norms. People who are comfortable with one are statistically more likely to be comfortable with the others. This powerful psychological truth was illustrated by an extensive correlation study conducted by the dating platform OkCupid. They analyzed a vast number of user questions and found that the survey item most strongly correlated with a user's stated willingness to engage in a spontaneous evening date was, "Do you enjoy the taste of beer?" The profound insight is not about the beverage itself, it's that the personality type who enjoys that culture, who is open, likely to socialize freely and embrace casual risk, is inherently a more spontaneous individual. Therefore, if you can steer the conversation toward topics like spontaneous road trips, adventurous escapades, or the high-spirited culture of late nights, you are immediately and subtly moving the interaction onto the psychological path for deepening the connection. Numerous other topics serve this powerful function by activating a liberated state of mind. Tattoos and piercings are excellent because they are about self-expression and the body, indicating a willingness to endure pain for desire. Any discussion that touches on the body or personal boundaries, even lightly, will naturally guide the mind toward a passionate direction. Similarly, subjects like traveling are huge because travel fundamentally means escape and adventure. When people, particularly women, travel alone, they often feel empowered to have unexpected adventures precisely because they are geographically isolated from their usual constraints and judgment. Asking her about her most unexpected or daring travel experience is a direct, low-risk way to engage her liberated, boundary-free mindset. You can also use lighter, affectionate topics like discussing kissing, favorite romantic moments in movies, dancing, or mischievous moments from adolescence. These ideas are clearly associated with physical intimacy, but are too light to cause any alarm, serving as perfect introductory steps. Crucially, you must realize that the way you speak and the specific words you choose will signal your underlying comfort level more than the topic itself. If you're discussing a private subject like undressing or changing clothes, and you visibly tense up, whisper, or look away, you are signaling that you are uncomfortable with your own body and the subject matter. A woman will instantly sense this, knowing that if you are inhibited, you will likely create an uncomfortable environment when the relationship becomes close. Furthermore, you must avoid being overly polite and hesitant to use strong language when the moment calls for it. If you're unwilling to use a mildly strong, impactful word in a casual context, it signals that you are uptight and overly formal. If you would use a certain word around your closest friends to express yourself fully, use it with her. It demonstrates confidence, ease, and a fundamental comfort with the raw, passionate, and intense side of life, which are all traits that suggest you are comfortable with physical intimacy. To illustrate how to flawlessly execute this topical escalation, the question game routine is a perfect, low-risk template. The rules are simple. You ask her a question, she answers honestly. Then she asks you a question, and you answer honestly. The genius lies in the selection of your opening question. You must start with one of those suggestive personal topics, such as, how old were you when you first experienced a strong attraction to someone? Or, what's the most mischievous trouble you got into in school? You introduce a slightly boundary-pushing tone. Because she is enjoying the interaction and is now comfortably sharing, she will feel a natural inclination to reciprocate by asking a question that is equally personal or perhaps even more intimate than yours. This is the principle of reciprocal vulnerability at work. Once she does this, you have explicit permission to take another step further, then another, until you are discussing deep, personal feelings and desires. Once a woman is comfortable discussing deep feelings and romantic possibilities, your confidence will naturally surge, making you much more willing to take other conversational or physical risks because you know you are aligned with her interest. This routine is a microcosm for what you should be doing, consistently and subtly escalating the conversation's intimacy level, making the progression feel inevitable. Once you've successfully started talking about deep personal topics, the other three modes of escalation become seamless. The shift to a more intimate venue makes logical sense because your topic is now private and special. Touching her becomes natural as you discuss affectionate stories or share emotional moments. And discussing the relationship frame, comparing dating stories or talking about partner traits, flows organically from the intimate subject matter. Finally, if you still feel anxiety about introducing even lightly suggestive topics, you can use methods to distance yourself from the risk. First, use quotes. You can mention that someone else, a friend, a character, or a celebrity, said something personal or controversial. By attributing the statement to a third party, you bring the suggestive idea into the room without taking personal accountability. Since the human brain cannot ignore a strong suggestion, simply introducing the concept, even via a quote, is enough to start the association process. Second, use role-play or hypotheticals. By framing a potentially risky idea as a what-if scenario, if you could have one secret talent that was completely outrageous, what would it be? You create a safe distance. People will reveal far more of their true personality, desires, and passionate sides in a hypothetical context than they ever would if you asked them directly. The fundamental lesson is this: do not settle for that boring, platonic, dead-end interaction. As a man, you must embrace the role of the person driving the interaction in a defined, romantic direction. It doesn't require dramatic or sudden moves. It just needs to be a subtle, consistent progression of personal depth. As long as you are continually escalating the topic, you are guaranteed to reach a deep connection eventually. This method of subtle topical escalation is the most elegant, low-risk way to ensure you never have a pointless, platonic conversation again.
Now that you know what to do, let's talk about the things that make women think you're creepy and that you should avoid at all costs.
We'll begin by addressing a harsh reality that many guys struggle with: the immediate judgment that occurs when a woman simply finds a man unattractive. I want to be direct about this because a lot of the time, the term creepy is used as a convenient social shield, a quick, dismissive label slapped onto any man a woman doesn't find appealing or someone she considers outside her social tier. It's a way of saying, you don't meet my standards, so your approach is invalid. While this isn't the case for every woman, I strongly feel we must reserve the word creepy for truly violating or disturbing encounters, not for mild awkwardness or lack of chemistry. For instance, a simple introduction is not creepy, regardless of who's doing the introducing. Someone briefly glancing in your direction because they genuinely find you beautiful isn't creepy, even if you don't find them attractive in return. I can't rewire the inherent visceral reactions of every person on the planet, so rather than dwelling on external factors, we must focus on what is within our power. I bring up this link between lack of attraction and the creepy label not to wound your feelings, but out of a deep desire to help you avoid falling into cycles of resentment or bitterness bitterness toward women. You have to accept that you simply won't be desirable to everyone, and that is perfectly okay. Some women will unfortunately dismiss you as weird or creepy, purely based on their initial lack of attraction, and those women are not worth your energy or frustration. The truly empowering move is to channel that focus inward. You should be actively working to improve your appearance, which includes your grooming, fashion choices, and hygiene. The way you present yourself to the world, think confident posture and clear communication, and your overall mental health. This dedicated self-improvement isn't a ploy to get a woman. It's an investment in your own well-being that naturally boosts your appeal and, crucially, your confidence, creating a powerful positive feedback loop. This process of taking personal accountability to become the best version of yourself is rewarding in itself. While it won't guarantee universal attraction, putting in consistent effort virtually guarantees a more positive reception in social interactions. This doesn't require getting plastic surgery or spending your life savings. It means maximizing the potential of the things you absolutely have control over. The second major misstep is the blatant refusal to respect disinterest, otherwise known as the relentless chase of a woman who is clearly uninterested. I understand that reading social signals is a minefield because women are often socialized to be indirect, sending mixed signals to avoid confrontation, or even leading men on because they enjoy the ego boost of the attention. To spare yourself frustration, stop fixating on ambiguous words and instead watch her actions. Her behavior will tell the true story. There are many situations where a woman has made her lack of interest explicitly clear. She stated she has a boyfriend, she told you she's too busy, or she said plainly, "I'm not interested." When you deliberately ignore these clear boundaries and continue to pursue, pester, or contact her, you are crossing the line. This failure to pick up on obvious social cues or explicit rejections makes you seem truly obsessive and shows poor judgment. When a man doesn't know when to concede and walk away, his persistence quickly devolves into being perceived as needy, desperate, and clingy, all of which are hallmarks of creepy behavior. This naturally leads us to obsessive behavior itself, the escalation that demonstrates a complete breakdown of boundaries. This includes the frantic, overwhelming barrage of communication like blowing up her phone with texts or sending numerous DMs on social media without ever receiving a reply. In this context, silence is a clear rejection. The creepy line is firmly crossed when you refuse to take no as a final answer, continuing to harass or contact her through different channels. This is particularly relevant with unwanted contact on social media. If you saw her on a dating app like Tinder, she didn't match with you, and you then track down her Instagram to message her. That is weird and a violation. She deliberately chose not to connect. You must honor that decision. Of course, the most severe forms of this, like physical or online stalking, are not just creepy, but often criminal. Another crucial area is awkward body language. Your body communicates volumes before you even speak, so mastering your body language is a powerful social skill. While I offer grace to those who are genuinely shy or have social anxiety, there are specific nonverbal cues that scream creepy. Be conscious of things like extreme nervousness, which includes completely avoiding eye contact, keeping your hands nervously hidden in your pockets, or acting skittish. These all make people uncomfortable. The most common and jarring nonverbal offense is staring. If you lock your gaze on her for a prolonged period, like a full minute, without looking away, it's profoundly creepy. Your immediate options are to either make a genuine approach and introduce yourself, or simply look away and respect her space. Beyond just eye contact, we must address unwanted touching. It is common for men, especially in social settings like bars or parties, to brush against, touch the small of her back, or lightly grab her arm while passing by. This unwarranted physical contact is invasive, weird, and creepy. You never need to initiate physical touch with a woman you don't know. No matter how attractive you may be, you must respect her physical boundaries. Finally, we address the territory of inappropriate comments. It is instantly disqualifying and creepy when men resort to making overtly sexual or crude remarks upon first meeting or early in an interaction. This is universally offensive. The source of the comment is irrelevant. Whether it comes from a conventionally attractive man or a total stranger, the content is creepy every single time. Leading with sexuality signals that your only interest is physical, which instantly turns most women off. Sexual tension and intimacy are things that must be earned, built, and mutually developed over time through genuine connection. The very first message you send, or the first sentence you speak to a woman, should never contain sexual content. A more subtle, yet common example of a boundary-crossing comment is the phrase, "Where's my hug?" You should never say this to a stranger, a new acquaintance, or even a friend who hasn't offered one. It is deeply weird because it places pressure on her to perform physical affection. If she wanted to hug you, she would have done so without prompting. I strongly caution against any dating advice that recommends using this line, as it demonstrates a fundamental lack of respect for personal space. We often say or do these things without realizing their negative impact. So the goal here is to self-reflect, recognize these behaviors in yourself, and consciously eliminate them.
And for the final part, these are the 8 mistakes most men make that ruin their chances. Mistake 1. Elevating her to a pedestal before she's earned the respect. When you put a woman on a pedestal, you're not just being nice. You are teaching her without words that you believe she is above you. Once she feels that, you've already lost the attractive tension. I used to do this, smiling too fast, throwing out compliments like breadcrumbs, desperately wishing, "Please notice me. Please like me." The psychology. Attraction requires parity and respect. If you worship her for free, you hand her the crown, and she starts seeing you as a supplicant or a fan, not a peer. The fix. Before you approach, pause and ask yourself, can she match me? Can she hold my attention? That shift moves your frame from seeking approval to evaluating compatibility. Lock this into your chest. Never give the crown for free. Mistake 2. You over-explain yourself. You think you're being clear or showing interest, but you're really drowning her in words. Every extra word carries the hidden message. Please, don't misunderstand. Please see me as good enough. I once answered the simple question, "What do you do?" with a 10-minute TED talk about my work and passion. Halfway through, her eyes drifted. My need to over-explain killed the vibe because the subtext was desperate. The psychology. When you explain too much, you're seeking validation. A man who is truly confident doesn't need to justify or ramble. He states his piece, calm. The fix. Give the short, clean answer. Then stop. Don't back it up with reasons. Just watch her reaction. I answered, "I build things online." I shut up. She tilted her head, smiled and asked, "What kind of things?" Boom. She's now investing and curious. If it takes me 10 minutes to prove, it's already lost. Don't rob yourself of this power by vomiting out value. Mistake 3. You chase every signal. She smiles. You rush to smile back. She texts a lazy, "Hey." You reply in 2 seconds with an essay. You are acting like a dog waiting for a treat, training her that your attention is guaranteed. The psychology. Attraction isn't built on how fast you respond. It's built on whether she must earn your attention. Women test without knowing it. The short text, the glance. If you leap every time, she knows exactly how much power she has over you, and certainty kills desire. The fix. The next time she gives a weak signal, pause, breathe, match her minimal energy, or go lower. Wait an hour before you reply. Let her feel the gap. Let her lean in. Attraction is unpredictable movement. Mistake 4. You block instead of flowing. Picture her teasing you. You're kind of quiet, aren't you? Most guys panic, stiffen up, and defend themselves. "No, I'm just tired." That's blocking. I got defensive when a girl smirked at my shoes saying, "Well, they're expensive. I just didn't wear my better pair." I killed the spark instantly by protecting myself. The psychology. Attraction is playful tension. When you block, defend, you shatter that tension and end the dance, like jamming a stick into the gears. Flowing, redirecting, comes from security, like in judo, where you redirect force instead of meeting it head-on. The fix, don't defend, flip it. If she says, "You're so quiet," smirk and go, "I was waiting to see if you'd say something worth answering." If she mentions your shoes, grin and say, "Careful, don't stare too long, you'll get jealous." When you flow, you show her you're not shaken and are ready to play. Mistake 5. You seek approval instead of giving it. You don't say, "Please like me," but everything about you whispers it. You agree with all her opinions, laugh too hard at her jokes, and mirror her tastes. I once agreed with everything a woman said. She loved sushi. I loved sushi. She hated hiking. I suddenly hated hiking. By the end, her eyes told me the truth. She was bored because I wasn't a man. I was a mirror. The psychology. When you seek approval, you hand her the role of judge. Women don't fall for the men they judge, they fall for the men they want to impress. You become an entertaining performer, but not an attractive man. The fix. Challenge her lightly. If she says, "I hate sushi," you smirk and say, "That's because you've only had the cheap stuff." Now she's the one leaning forward, trying to prove herself. The power shifts when she's performing for your approval. Approval is your most expensive currency. Make her earn it. Mistake 6. You hide behind masks. The truth is, women reject men for who they pretend to be, not who they are. You wear a mask, the tough guy, the mystery intellectual, or in my case, the funny guy who never lets silence breathe. The girls laughed at my jokes like they laughed at a clown. Fun for a second, forgettable the next. None of them stuck around because I was hiding behind the mask of humor. The psychology. A mask is like kindling. It burns fast, but dies even faster. Women don't bond with masks, they bond with the man underneath. Your real presence is the log. It burns slow, deep, and steady. The fix. The next time you're with a woman, resist the urge to perform. If you feel silence, sit in it, look at her calmly, breathe, let her see that you are comfortable just being there. That one moment of raw presence is worth more than 100 fake jokes. Your flaws won't scare her away. Your masks will. Mistake 7. You refuse to walk away. She crosses a line, flakes on plans, disrespects you in front of friends, or plays hot and cold. You swallow it, cling tighter, and beg, hoping to prove your care and win her over. I stayed with a girl who cancelled plans and flirted with other men right in front of me. Every time I stayed, I confirmed the story in her head. This man needs me more than he needs himself. Once a woman believes that, she can't desire you. The psychology. Women fall for the man who can stand still and walk away when his principles are violated. That is self-respect, and self-respect is the root of all attraction. Your willingness to walk away gives your presence weight. The fix. The next time a woman disrespects you, calmly withdraw. No drama, no argument, just silence and distance. You can't hold on to her and your dignity at the same time. One of them has to go. Lock this line into your mind. I would rather lose her than lose myself. Mistake 8. You give certainty too early. You prematurely confess your deep feelings. I love you. You're perfect. You think you're being honest, but you're actually cutting the rope that kept her climbing. I once told a woman I loved her after only a few weeks. The next day she was colder. She wasn't cruel. She just wasn't drawn anymore. The psychology. Women are addicted to tension and suspense, not certainty. The question, does he like me as much as I like him, is the electricity that keeps her invested. The second you give total certainty, the game is over. With ownership comes boredom. The fix. Control the dosage. Give her warmth, but also challenge. Instead of, "I really like you," say, "You're fun, but I'm still figuring out if you fit my world." You give a spark of validation but wrap it in mystery. Now she has something to prove. She doesn't want the ending. She wants the journey. If you got value from this video, there's even more waiting for you in the link below. Click it, and it might just change your life.